Very good morning. Thank you for joining Shri Devi Mahatmyam. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. I hope you all are having a wonderful beginning of Navratri. Today is day 2, so we'll continue with the next episode. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha. Om Shri Guru Dattatre Namaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha. Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. The Devi Mahatmyam, the second episode. Meditation on Mahalakshmi. Wielding in her hands the string of beads, battle axe, mace, arrow, thunderbolt, lotus, bow, water pot, cudgel, lance, sword, shield, conch, bell, wine cup, trident, noose, and the discus. Sudarshana. She has a complexion of coral and is seated on a lotus. I worship here that Mahalakshmi, the vanquisher of the Asura, Mahisha. Om Hrim, the sage said, long ago, when Mahisha was the lord of the Asuras and Indra of the gods, there was a war between the gods and the Asuras for a full 100 years. In that, the army of the gods was vanquished by Asuras of great valor. Having conquered all the gods, Mahishasura became Indra. You need to remember this. What happened? Mahishasura became Indradev. Then the vanquished gods, led by Brahma, the lotus born, the lord of beings, went to the place where Shiva and the Garuda bannered God. The god narrated to both of them the activities of Mahishasura and the details of insults heaped upon the gods, just as they happened. He himself now wields the authority of the sun, Indra, the fire, the wind, the moon, Yama, Varuna, and of other gods. The entire hosts of gods, expelled by the wicked Mahisha from heaven, wander across the earth as mortals do. We have narrated in full the deeds of the enemy of gods. We seek refuge in you. Pray, think about slaying him. Thus, having heard the words of the gods, the slayer of Madhu got angry, and so also Shiva, their faces frowning with knit eyebrows. Then, from the face of the wielder of discus, which was brimming with fury, and from the faces of Brahma and Shankara, a great effulgence emerged. From the bodies of other gods, like Indra, a great effulgence emerged as well, and it all became a united mass. The gods saw there a lofty peak of effulgence, looking like a blazing volcano, pervading the quarters with its flames, born out of the bodies of all the gods. That unique effulgence, combined into one mass of light, took the form of a woman, pervading the triple worlds with its luster. In that effulgence, what was the light of Shiva? From that was formed the face. The tresses were formed from the light of Yama, and the arms from the light of Vishnu. The two breasts were formed from the light of the moon, the middle portion from the light of the Indra, the legs and thighs from the light of Varuna, and the hips from the light of the earth. The feet from the light of Brahma, and its fingers from the sun's light. The fingers of the hand from that of the Vasus, and the nose from the light of Kubera. Her teeth were formed from the light of Prajapati, the lord of beings. Likewise, the triad of her eyes was born from the light of fire. The eyebrows from the two Sandhyas, her ears from the light of the wind, from the light of the other gods as well. The auspicious goddess was formed. Then, on seeing her born out of the lights heaped from all the gods, the immortals afflicted by Mahisha was happy. They became happy. Then the gods gave individually to her their respective weapons. The wielder of Pinaka gave to her the trident, drawing it out of his trident. The dark god also gave the discus, whirling it forth from his own discus. Varuna gave her the conch, Agni the lance. Vayu gave her a bow and a pair of quivers filled with arrows. Indra, the thousand-eyed lord of the gods, gave her the thunderbolt, taking it out of his thunderbolt, and the bell from his elephant Airavata. Yama gave a cudgel out of his cudgel of death, and the lord of waters the noose. Brahma, the lord of beings, gave her the rosary of beads and the water pot. Surya placed his own rays on all the pores of her skin. Kala gave her a sword and a spotless shield. The milky ocean gave her an unsullied garment, a pair of unaging garments, a brilliant crest jewel, a pair of ear pendants, bangles, a luminous half-moon ornament, bracelets in all arms, a pair of shining anklets, likewise a unique necklace and bejeweled rings on all the fingers. I'm sure you're all imagining how beautiful it is. She must be looking the most beautiful one on this entire universe. Goddess, this is how we have to also be. Vishwakarma gave her a brilliant axe, missiles of various forms, as well as an unbreakable armor. The ocean gave her an unfading lotus garland to wear on the head, another one to wear on the breast, and a very beautiful lotus to be held in her hand. Himavan gave her the lion as the vehicle and various gems. The Lord of Wealth gave her a drinking cup always full of wine. The king of all serpents, Sesha, who bears this world, gave her a snake garland bedecked with huge jewels, honored with ornaments and weapons by the other remaining gods as well. The goddess roared with loud laughter again and again. The entire sky was filled up with her immeasurable, stupendous, terrible roar, and great was the echo that arose. All the worlds were agitated, and the oceans raged. The earth quaked, and all the mountains rocked. Victory to thee, exclaimed the gods in joy to her. Mounted on the lion, and the sages lauded her. Their bodies bowed in devotion. Seeing the entire triple world agitated, the enemies of the immortals marshalled all their forces and rose up with weapons uplifted. Ah, what is this? Exclaimed Mahishasura in wrath and rushed towards that sound, surrounded by all asuras. Then he saw the goddess pervading the three worlds with her effulgence. The tread of her feet bent the earth low. The top of her crown scraped the welkin high. With the twang of a bowstring, she shook the entire netherworld, and with 1,000 arms, she stood covering all the quarters. Then began the battle between the goddess and the enemies of gods, where the quarters were illumined by various arrows and missiles thrown at each other. The general of Mahishasura, a great asura, Chikshura, so here comes the names, okay? Chikshura by name and Chamara fought with the opponents, equipped with a fourfold complement of forces. A great asura, Udgra by name, with 60,000 chariots, and Mahahanu with 1 crore waged the battle. The great Asiloma fought in that battle with 150 lakhs, with Bhaskala fought with 60 lakhs of chariots. Parivarita, surrounded by many thousands of elephants and horses and crores of chariots, fought in that battle. One named Bidala fought in that battle, surrounded by 500 crores of chariots. Other great asuras, tens of thousands in number, encircled by elephants and horses, fought in the war front with the goddess. In that battle, Mahishasura stood encircled by crores and crores of chariots, elephants and horses, with iron maces and javelins, with lances and pistols, with swords, battle axes and halberds. They fought with the goddess in the fronts. Some hurled lances, some other threw nooses, they began to attack the goddess by striking her with swords. The goddess Chandika also quite playfully cut into pieces those arrows and missiles by pouring on them her own arrows and missiles. Praised by the gods and the sages, the goddess Ishwari, showing no fatigue in her face, cast arrows and missiles on the bodies of asuras. And the lion also, the mount of Devi, shook its mane in fury and roamed amidst the armies of the asuras like fire in the forest. So here's a description about how the Devi was born, how she got all the powers which all the gods, whatever they had, gave it to her, the weapons, and then how she became the most beautiful goddess. She's born beautiful, but how she was given the most beautiful things, the best of everything that was there in this entire universe was given to her, and she got this power of who she is, and then she started fighting with the asuras. And what is being mentioned here is that the asuras had bigger army and the weapons and everything else much bigger than the goddess, yet the goddess did not get fatigued in the battle by fighting with so many enemies and killing them, the demons. So let us understand who these demons are all within us. I will narrate the truth at the end of this, once we finish reading it, okay? The sighs that the mother fighting on the battlefront heaved became immediately her host, the sighs that the mother fighting on the battlefront heaved became immediately her hosts in hundreds and thousands. Aggrandized by the force of the goddess, these hosts fought, destroying the hosts of asuras with battle axes, javelins, swords and halberds. Is that festival of war? Some of the hosts beat the drums, some blew conches and others played on mridangas. Then the goddess killed the great asuras in hundreds by means of trident, mace, lance, double-edged swords and ordinary swords. She felled certain asuras to the ground by making them stunned with the sound of her bell. Certain others she dragged around the ground by binding them with the noose. Some were split into two by the severe fall of the swords. Others, smashed by the blow of a mace, were laid on the ground. Severely struck by the pestle, some vomited blood, rent by the trident in the chest. Some were felled on the ground. In the battlefield, some of those who afflicted the gods were caught in a flood of arrows, leaving no space in their bodies unstruck. Resembling porcupines, they breathed their last. Some had their arms cut, some others their necks. Heads of some fell on the ground and others were rent asunder in the middle. It's very gory scene. I'm sure you're imagining the bloodshed and how she's killing. It's very funny, but the real truth is far from this. Some other great asuras, their legs cut off, fell on the ground. Some rendered one-armed, one-eyed and one-legged were again rent into two by the goddess. A few, their heads cut off, fell and rose again. Others danced in the battlefield in tune with the battle drums. The trunks of other great asuras, with swords, lances and double-edged swords still in their hands, their heads just cut off, shouted at the goddess, "Stop, stop." The place on the earth where the great battle took place became impassable on account of the chariots, elephants, horses and asuras fell on the ground. Streams of blood from the asuras, elephants and horses became in no time huge rivers and flowed amidst the army of the asuras. Thus the mother in a moment's time led to destruction the great army of the asuras just as fire would, a huge stalk of wood and grass. That lion also, shaking its mane and making a terrible roar, prowled about, searching as it were the life breaths in the bodies of the enemies of the immortals. The goddess with her hosts fought with the asuras in such a manner that the gods were pleased and showered flowers from the heaven. So here ends the second of Devi Mahatmyam in Markandeya Purana during the period of Savarni, the Manu. So we'll continue the third chapter. The sage said, seeing that army being slain, the great Asura, Chikshura, the commander-in-chief, proceeded in anger to fight the mother. The Asura rained showers of arrows on the goddess in battle, just as a cloud would pour in showers of rain on the peak of the Meru mountain. Then the goddess, playfully cutting asunder the volley of arrows, killed his horses and their driver with her arrows. Immediately she broke his bow and his banner flying aloft, and with swift shafts stuck in the limbs of him whose bow had been broken. His bow broken, his chariot smashed, his horse killed, and his charioteer slain, the Asura, wielding a sword and a shield, jumped at the goddess. With terrific speed, he struck the lion on the head with a sharp-edged sword and hit the goddess on her left arm. O delight of kings, the sword, the moment it touched her arm, broke into two pieces. Red in the eyes with anger, he took the spear. The great Asura hurled the weapon, resplendent with luster, at Bhadrakali, as though he was hurling the orb of sun from the skies. Seeing the spear coming upon her, the goddess released her spear. It broke his spear into 100 pieces, as well as the great Asura. When that general of Mahisha, of great valor, was slain, Chamara, that afflictor of the gods, came forward mounted on an elephant. He hurled his lance at the Devi, and the mother immediately, with the grunt, made it fall to the ground lustrously. Seeing his lance broken and fallen, Chamara, filled with anger, hurled the spear. She broke it as well with her arrows. Then the lion leaped upwards, seated itself between the temples of the elephant, and engaged itself in a hand-to-hand fight with that enemy of gods. In the course of fighting, they came down from the elephant to the ground and fought quite excited, dealing each other terrible blows. Then the foe of beasts leaped to the sky with force, and from there sprang on Chamara, severing his head with a blow of its paw. Udgra was killed in battle of Devi by means of rocks, trees and the like. Karala was brought down by biting with her teeth, hitting with her fist and slapping with her palm. The Devi in wrath pulverized Uddhata with strokes of her mace. She slew Bhaskala with a javelin, Tamra and Andhaka with arrows. The great goddess, possessed of 3 eyes, smote and slew Ugrasya, Ugravirya and Mahahanu with her trident. By her sword, she made the head of Bidala fall from his body and sent Durdhara and Durmukha to the abode of death by her arrows. Seeing his own army being demolished thus, Mahishasura terrified the hosts of the Devi with his buffalo form. Now comes Mahishasura, the buffalo form, hitting by the muzzle some, trampling by the hooves some others, lashing by his tail some, tearing by his horns some others, with sheer speed some, with bellowing and whirling about some others, and with the blast of his breath the rest. He laid the hosts on the ground. After laying low the hosts of Pramatas, that Asura leaped to slay the lion of the great goddess. Seeing this, the mother became very angry. He too, of great valor, pounded the terrain with his hooves in rage, threw about the mountains with his horns and roared. Crushed by his whirling speed, the earth crumbled to pieces. Lashed by his tail, the ocean flooded everywhere. Broken by his moving horns, the clouds went into pieces. His heaving breath lifted up mountains in the sky and brought them down. Seeing the great Asura, bloated with rage, advancing towards her, she, Chandika, assumed an angry mood in order to kill him. She threw the noose over the great Asura and bound him. Thus, bound in the great battle, he left his buffalo form. Now, what happens to the Mahishasura? He took a buffalo form. Now he left that buffalo form. And now let us see what form he's getting into. Then immediately he became a lion. No sooner the mother cut the head off than a man appeared with a sword in hand. Soon the goddess cut the man asunder along with his sword and shield by means of her arrows. Then he became a huge elephant. The elephant pulled the lion with its trunk and roared. As it pulled, the goddess cut off the trunk with her sword. The great Asura resumed the body of a buffalo and shook the three worlds along with their mobile and immobile things. So let me stop for a moment here and explain what does this all mean in Adhyatma, and then we'll continue. See, if you so far have listened, you've listened to how the goddess was born, what are the kind of weapons she has, how beautiful she looks, and what is the power she wields within herself, the kind of power she has. And then she is not afraid of fighting the Asuras, and you saw how many Asuras were there. And the Asuras outnumbered her, her army or her power. But she was much mightier than the Asuras. She could kill as many as the Asuras were, the armies were coming to fight with her. She cut asunder everybody. She used different weapons. See, every time an Asura came, she used a specific weapon and she was able to destroy them. Who are these demons? Are these demons outside of us or within us? That is the most important question you have to ask. See, this Devi is not the one somebody is outside. This Devi is you and me. Okay? And the power, if you see, the gods had given her various weapons. All that is within us, that is called our capabilities, our potentials. Those are the power to do what we have born here to achieve in this world, the purpose of our existence. And those powers are vested within us. But the thing is, we don't understand how and where is this power, because we have always given into these demons and accepted defeat like the gods. Like Indradev lost his heaven. Who has taken over the heaven? Mahishasura became the Indra, because he threw all the gods away from the heavens, and that is when they went to Vishnu, right? So what happens to us? We also give in to our Indradev. We let the demons take over our mind. And what does the demons do? The demons tell you, no, you can't do this, you cannot do this, you are incapable, you are a miserable person, you are a petty human being. It gives you a lot of negativities. Did you see how many Asuras were there? Too many. So every single time you say, I am incapable, I can't do this, I am the poorest one, I am this, I am that, you're actually not awakening that power of the Devi that you have within you. The potentials, the power of every god is vested within you, but you're not using it. You don't even know that you have this weapon inside of you, which is your capabilities and all the abilities, God-given abilities. The potentials are in you, but you don't understand at all. We think, I can't do this. I don't want to do. Why? Because I'm incapable. I don't even want to try. I've already accepted defeat. The gods have not even fought with the Asuras. They've already accepted defeat. Why? Why should you accept defeat? You should never accept defeat. And why are you letting that Indradev take over? And who has taken over the Indra's throne? Please remember, it's called Mahishasura. Now we'll understand who is this Mahishasura. What is the form he takes? Buffalo form. The word Mahish means something very important. The name is already there, buffalo. What does buffalo represent as? Inertia, lethargy, tamas is what buffalo represents. So what happens when the buffalo takes over your mind? it sits in the Indra's throne and tells you it's okay, you can't do it. It makes you completely lethargy. Inertia is filled in your being. So you are moving also like a buffalo. Have you seen how the buffalo walks? Very slow. Sorry. The buffalo walks very slow. And what happens is that it's not even going to move from its place. Have you seen a buffalo sitting and eating food, or the way it walks? Completely tamasic. And when Mahishasura takes over us, the Indradev, mind becomes Mahishasura. So what is filled in you? Lethargy and inertia. We allow this demon constantly. And please remember, the demons don't die. And they have immortality, in the sense they have the power of getting back from death. And that's a separate story which I will narrate. I'm not going to mix now. So even if you kill the demons, they will still rise again. That's the power they have. So what happens? You will think, okay, I've killed this demon, Mahishasura. Now the buffalo god is gone. Not god, sorry. The buffalo demon is gone out of me. And now I'll be able to do something. But when you think he doesn't exist, suddenly from nowhere you'll see that you've again started going back in your old ways. Inertia fills in you. You become tamasic in nature. You're not able to do. And we say, why am I not able to do? I can do this, I can do that. But something is not allowing you to do. The word is called to do. And that is called this energy and this inertia and lethargy, which is filling us. And it doesn't allow us to do anything. And we give reasons. We give excuses. We don't want to work. We just want to keep lying there. We become so lethargic that we don't even want to move, lift our finger to do anything in our world. That is what the Mahishasura, the buffalo demon, represents. Then what happens then? From buffalo, he takes another form. What is the form? Then immediately he became a lion. No sooner the mother cut off than a man appeared with a sword in the hand. So now what is the form that the demon is taking? A lion. What does this lion mean? Oh, it's that ego. It's called, I know this. I have done this. Why are you telling me? That ego comes up. If somebody is saying, why are you so lethargy? Why are you sitting there not doing any work? And we get very angry. Then another demon comes within us. You know what? I've done this so much. I know I have done all of this. Don't tell me this. You don't teach me. And that's called again a deflated ego. That's again an ego that comes within us. Who are you to tell me? Don't keep telling me, don't do. This is how we react. Have you ever, watched yourself, how you react? You observe yourself. You have to witness your own self. How do you react to things? When somebody teaches you, or, an example I can always give is with my Guruji, my Krishna Guruji. Many years ago, I can only give my own example. So I'm just giving you how these demons work. Many years ago, when my Guruji said, you can do more. You are very capable. You have these things. You know it. Why are you not doing? He keeps asking these questions. Sometimes, we get very irritated. This mind, that ego comes in. And that ego is this lion. You know what? I have done this in my work. I know all of this. What are you telling me? I just know. The word called I know, that ego, which thinks it has done too much in life. But actually what you've done is according to your mind's understanding. You don't even know what you have really done. Yeah, you might have the capabilities, you might have used it once. But doesn't mean that that's all you have to use it and you should not use it now. So we behave in this manner. So these are the demons within us. And what is the goddess showing? She represents the hidden potentials, those weapons, the capabilities which we have to use to overcome these demons within us. That is what the spiritual meaning of all this beautiful story. See, for us simple human beings, the mind, it's a simple mind. For us to understand these adhyatmic truth, this applies both in the spiritual and in the material world. For us to win and for us to use to become the best version of ourselves and use our capabilities efficiently and to become the best and achieve whatever that we have to in our world, and we have to understand how to use these capabilities or abilities. Those are the weapons, and we have to use the right capability for doing the right things, which means knowledge is important. So you have to study, You have to overcome that, inertia and tamas in you, the letharginess that exists, which is what your mind does. And the mind does because you have allowed that buffalo demon to become the king of the mind. It conquers you. It defeats Indra also and says, I am now the king of gods. It becomes Indradev. Then what happens? You are actually fallen a prey to that. So never let that happen. You have to constantly observe yourself. How do you behave? How do you react? See, all these stories is given for us in a very beautiful manner so that our simple mind can understand. We can understand and imbibe the truth and use this knowledge so that we can overcome these demonic tendencies within us. The demons are not outside. Please remember, the power of God, all the weapons, all the things are within us. When we overcome the demonic tendencies and the inherent nature that we have conquered the demons and become that Devi. That greatness is what we become, and that is her greatness, how she fought the demons. So it is called Devi Mahatmyam, understanding the greatness of this Devi. So when you overcome all these demons in your own life, you become this great goddess. That is what the spiritual meaning is. So the lion, what happens suddenly when you're being told, why are you sleeping? Why can't you wake up and do something? When we hear these things constantly, reaction happens. And then this lion comes in. Oh, don't keep telling me. I've done so much in my life. Who you are, you think? We say this to our mother as well, right? When your mommy comes and wakes you up and says, hey, time up, go to school. You have to go to school. Get up fast. Please don't keep telling me. I know what to do. This word called I know. That's called the deflated ego, that small ego which comes in. And it's very, it's kind of I don't know how to express, but it makes you feel, why are these people after me? Why can't they just let me be? I know my life. We say this, I know what to do. That's called that ego. So we should never allow this ego to come, because it will destroy you. It'll never allow you to use your ability to rise above. On the contrary, it'll shut off everybody and say, you know what, I am capable in a different way, which is not doing. I know everything. It doesn't want you to study also, and that is wrong. Okay, I've done this before, and it's not even a haughtiness, but it's a sort of an ego, which will say you know all of this. But see that when you say I know this, you stop learning, you stop getting that knowledge. It doesn't allow you to get that knowledge. It puts an impediment to your growth. That is what this lion does. Then what happens? Soon the goddess cut them. Then again it goes back in that man form. You become that man again, that human being, and then again you just go back into that form. When again the goddess comes and then she cuts that man, then what happens? Then from that comes another huge elephant. Soon the goddess cut the man asunder, along with his sword and shield, by means of her arrows. Then he became a huge elephant again. Once again that elephant comes, now a different form. And what does this elephant mean? Pride, arrogance. That is what elephant represents. Then we become very haughty. You know what? I know it all. I've already done this. So from the done this, you become that man again. You take that human form, and then you become very haughty. Now from the deflated to, you become very, you have a very high ego, inflated, it's not even, it's inflated, but in a different way. You are infuriated. You have a lot of pride and arrogance, saying, you know what, don't teach me. I know everything. I will do this. I can do this. I have conquered this. I'm very capable, because elephant is might. It's huge. It's mighty. So we get this pride, swollen pride, we'll say. Somebody who thinks and no end of themselves. That is what comes in. Oh, I have already achieved these things in my life. No, you have not done. So again, what does it do? It puts an impediment to your path of growth, to your path of learning. It doesn't allow you to do also. Again, it puts an impediment. When that ego, the pride and arrogance come, you stop learning. You will not even do. And what happens? You will do it in your own way. You don't care about how things has to be done in the perfect manner. So when I said to you, this happens whether it is with our parents, whether it is with our friends, sometimes these qualities are there within all of us. Each one of us have these demons. So I was giving an example to tell you how this works. especially in the spiritual world. Just a very simple example. When your Guruji teaches you certain things, he will always want you to undo what you have learned when you come to him. Because that's only a material worldly understanding. But what does the Guru do? He removes your material worldly imperfections and perfects your spiritual understanding. So the Guru tells you, this is not the way it is, this is how it is. A simple example. Then, initially when I wanted to learn cooking from my Guruji, instead of shutting my mouth and learning, I would go on saying, no, this is done like this. You have to put this. Am I here to learn from him, or am I telling him how to do? Am I teaching the master? So that's your ego, which says, I know. The lion. So one is, first, I don't want to do anything. Then from there, it'll just, when you're being taught, it'll say, I already know it. Then it'll again become angry, that human form, I don't care, I am somebody, it wants to fight. Then again, it becomes a haughty pride. You know what? I don't care, I don't want to learn, I know all of this. So that ability to learn is completely shut off, or even to doing anything. So these are the demons which puts an impediment to your growth, whether it is in your personal life, professional life, or spiritual life. These are the real demons within us. And conquering with the ability, God-given potentials, God-given capabilities and abilities. That is why we say every God is within us. And that's what we have been reading since yesterday, right? We are learning that. Then all the potencies, that power, which are the weapons, are there within us. So we have to use the right weapon to kill these demons, which is called the knowledge. And that is what the Guru teaches us. But even to achieving that, right, to understand and listen, the impediment comes because of the mind. Why? The mind has been taken over by Mahishasura. So the mind goes into that inertia and lethargy and does not allow you to get that knowledge, because it completely shuts off everything within you. So the greatest demon that exists, which you have to fight and win, is within you and not outside of you. Today, this is the challenge why we are always, in a quandary with our own self. We are fighting the battle within. This battle is not outside. Please remember, the demon outside is a different story. And that's again very different story. Like yesterday I explained about, like Madhu, how people speak sweet things. Again, we are listening. So it's a demon which wants to listen sweet things within us. An example. You just have to stay away. Don't get carried away. Don't allow this demon to become powerful within you, because that is what it's asking for. The moment you let it become powerful, then it's going to destroy you from becoming that Devi. It's not going to allow you to rise above at all. So you need to understand you're greater than these demons. You have these capabilities within you. You can conquer anything that you wish in your world, because God-given potentials are within you. You have to rise and fight. Fighting is a must. What is the Devi doing here? She's fighting the Asuras with the weapon she has. Is she getting fatigue? Fatigue was a word used. She's not tired of fighting, because she's so capable. The power is within her. You are the Devi. You can fight. What makes you think, no, I am done, I am incapable, I can't fight? The moment you give, the Asuras are winning in you. The moment you say, I can, I will, and I will fight, I conquer, and you will win. Please remember, the gods are within you. You have all the weapons within you to be who you want to be. That great Devi. That is what this spirituality is all about. That is what Devi Mahatmyam is all about. Spirituality is one aspect. Through the stories, it's giving us the truth about who we are. So our purpose has to be established. We have to serve our purpose. And when you understand that purpose, and you will do what you are born to do, and not succumb to these demons in this world, whether it is outside or within. You are capable. But first, if you don't win within yourself, how can you win outside? That is a challenge. First, we need to have a powerful mind. The mind is God's Indra's heaven. He needs to be in his position. And you can't let a Asura take over the God's position. No. Then you're making the demon the God, who's actually going to destroy you. You can't allow that. So you have to ensure that you are capable. You are that goddess. And once you win the battle within, you can fight any war in this world, let me tell you. You can go and achieve whatever you want to in this world. There is no stopping except you yourself. Nobody is going to stop you from achieving what you want to if you cannot achieve yourself from within. So for that, you have to be that Devi within first, and understanding the truth. I am not this fragile body. I am not what my mind is telling me to be. You are not that. So once you know this, you will be able to do anything in this world. You become that great goddess yourself, and then there is you don't need any conviction from outside to tell you who you are. So the Devi Mahatmyam is a story of you and I, that we are the great goddess. Why are we succumbing to our mind? Please overcome the mind with the power of this knowledge. That is why the knowledge is given to us. We say Navratri, the 9 dark nights, where the Devi fights the demons. So let us also pray that her grace being within us, that we fight this 9 beautiful nights, the dark nights, and become victorious in our life, and become that Devi within these 9 nights. Overcome our anger, our ego, our pride and arrogance. Why do you need to that? If you have that, it's a self-destruction. Isn't that what the demons want? They want to destroy you. They don't want you to become the Devi. That is what they are doing. So let us not succumb and achieve what we want to in our world by fighting these demons and winning these demons over victoriously and becoming that great Devi. So the elephant pulled the lion with its trunk and rode. As it pulled, the goddess cut off the trunk with her sword. The great Asura resumed the body of a buffalo and shook the 3 worlds along with their mobile and immobile things. And then what happens? Once again, it's like a cycle. Then again, you go back into the state of tamas, inertia and lethargy. So someday you'll say, okay, I want to do, someday I don't want to. You'll go through this cycle. And once again, you'll end up saying, I don't want to do anything. That's what happens. So you cannot allow this cycle to happen constantly. And please remember, the demons are very cunning. You don't even know when they have taken over you. So you have to be very careful and observing at all times. That is why living a disciplined life is very important. One day you say, okay, you know what, today it's raining outside, I don't want to wake up. It's okay, 1 hour later I wake up. You know what you have done? You've let that buffalo demon come in you. And it very easily, breaks that cycle. The demon is already waiting to see when it can break that cycle for you. And one day it gets an opportunity, it will destroy that discipline. That's what it wants. So don't allow. So who has to put that effort? And that is called effort. See, what are these weapons all about? These weapons are that you have that willpower, you have that effort, you have to put that effort, which is by not succumbing to your mind, not succumbing or becoming lethargy. And you have to say, yes, I can do it. And when you start doing it, you get that energy within you. That is the power which is there. And this is the truth you need to understand. So, enraged at this, Chandika, the mother of the worlds, had again and again a superb drink and laughed, her eyes becoming red. The Asura too, intoxicated with his strength and valor, rode and threw mountains at Chandika with his horns. And she, with a volley of arrows, reduced to powder those that were hurled at her, and said to him, her words faltering and colour mounting up her face due to the intoxication of the drinks. The goddess said, roar, roar, O fool, for a moment till I drink this wine. Soon the gods are going to roar here when you are slain by me. The sage said. Exclaiming thus, she jumped and climbed on that great Asura. Crushing his neck under her foot, she hit him with the trident. Then, crushed by her foot, he was able to emerge only as half of his self from his own mouth, overpowered by the valor of the goddess. Continuing to fight as half of his self, the great Asura was beheaded by the goddess with the sword and slain. Then, crying in consternation, the entire army of the Asuras perished, and the entire host of gods derived immense delight. The gods, along with the divine seers, lauded the goddess. The Gandharva kings sang, and the hosts of Apsaras danced. Here ends the third of Devi Mahatmyam in Markandeya Purana during the period of Savarni, the Manu. So what happens? So goddess Chandika, she was able to kill him. She did. In Mysore, we call it Mahishasura Mardini, the goddess who killed Mahishasura. She is known as Chamundeshwari. So it is you who have to kill this Mahish within you and never allow the other demons to take that form and conquer these demons within you and become that great goddess. This is the truth, and then you will be able to face life in a very powerful manner. Then nobody can disturb you, whether it is in the material world or in your personal world or even in your spiritual world. And please remember, there was one very important lesson which was taught yesterday. In yesterday it was said, when you are going on the path of spiritual, these demons become very powerful within you because they don't want you to evolve. They don't want you to be this Devi. So they put lot of impediments in the form of how this Mahish, the buffalo form, then the lion, then the elephant, and then again the man. So it goes in cycles like this. Someday you're in that high, someday you're low, and someday your mind is completely instigated by these demons within you, and then it's saying, no, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to do, I don't like to do, I just want to just be, I don't want to do. That comes. Or you'll say, what is this? I know all this already. Who is telling me this? You'll go in that ego zone. Or someday your mind will say, he's just talking nonsense. He doesn't even understand. I know all of this. And someday pride. Or who do you think? I'm the greatest, So these things go on. These are the demons you need to fight and win over yourself. And what do you need to become? That beautiful Devi. Can anybody stand in front of this Devi? Nobody. And when you become that Devi, you're capable of facing anything, anybody in this world, and you will be doing everything. You will never think that this is not possible by me. You have become capable. That is what Devi Mahatmyam is all about. I hope you enjoyed today's episodes, the second episode, which was about, who is Mahishasur, the buffalo demon, and how the buffalo demon keeps taking different forms. So I hope you've learned, and if you have any questions, please feel free to write to us. I'll be very happy to answer. With that, we end the Devi Mahatmyam Parayan for today. Once again, thank you for joining Devi Mahatmyam. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Tatta. Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Digambara Digambara Shri Pad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Gurunathanatha Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum.